Hi, I'm Dave. I'm an addict.
Dave, I'm an addict. I'm really, really nervous. My hands are sweating, and it's that feeling I used to get when I was waiting for the dealer, heart going, and it's amazing what it brings back. It really is amazing to be here, that there is something such as this, that we can try and remember where it all started. I know Mark has driven it for a long time, and it's amazing that it's come to fruition. I think it's amazing how things start small and grow and grow and grow. And well, I don't know much about the planning, but I'm sure a lot has gone into it. In my head, a lot has got into the share, but it's all kind of gone now, and I'm just going to try and remember it as it was. I've been having flashbacks the whole morning as people have been speaking, and remembering people's names and remembering places, and I suppose because of my drug use, my memory isn't great. But I started using it at a really young age, and got out of control really, really quickly, and it was quite evident for everybody to see that I wasn't just kind of like a user. It got bad, and I was very quickly referred to the authorities, and that happened to be SANCA at the time, and their kind of outpatient program where you used to arrive with your little yellow plastic bag for your daily ration of pills or your weekly ration of pills or whatever, and there was really no support whatsoever, apart from a therapist who was pretty easy to con. In June 1985, I can only say that it was a higher power intervention, because I had no plan of getting clean. Like others have said this morning, my only reason for going to SANCA was to get out of the legal troubles that I was in, and had a motorbike accident, and I too was in intensive care, and I actually remember hearing a doctor say to my parents, if you've got a priest, maybe you should bring him along. And it was touch and go, and I made it, and somebody else made a decision for me that I was going into rehab, so I left hospital and went straight into rehab. Managed to bring some pills in with me as well. I hadn't stopped using. I was lying in hospital, but managing to get drugs, and got into rehab, and it was a nasty realization, because when the pills that I had brought in finished, I had to detox, and I don't remember much, but I know there was a lot of pain involved. And it was roundabout. I was actually going through my father's diaries, and he's also quite an obsessive dude. He's keeping diaries from 1985, but he still got them, and I know it was the night that JR got shot in Dallas. It's a long time ago. This was the first time. It wasn't the rerun on the series channel. And in this rehab, which was a SANCA kind of organization, I met Chris Wednesday nights. It was NA meetings. It was very, it was run pretty much the same as the preambles were slightly different. And there's one of my little flashbacks this morning. There was a part in the preamble that said, our first fix, pill or drink, and there was this guy who had a particular drug of choice, and he read fix, pink or drink, and it was like, this is like, I can really remember sitting in that lounge, and as Chris remembers, that there were some nights when he wasn't allowed. We were punished. If somebody had jumped the wall or somebody had been using in the house, like there was no NA meetings. It's like quite an irony, eh? But anyway, yeah. I left Phoenix House and started attending NA meetings at Sanka in Pritchard Street at Palace Buildings, and I have really vivid memories of these horrible green vinyl chairs. And the meetings were in the waiting area of Sanka Johannesburg. And I have vivid memories of looking out the window at two notorious narcotic squad officers who were sitting in a car outside taking down number plates. So we were under surveillance. I mean, the preamble says we were under no surveillance. We were under surveillance. It was just as disorganized as perhaps it was more disorganized than it is today. I also have a memory of the person who was meant to bring the key to get into the Sanka waiting room not turning up, and several occasions having meetings in the stairwell. But we had meetings. Sometimes there was two of us, but we had meetings, and there were meetings afterwards. In fact, the Mike's Kitchen in Parktown was like the favorite. There was a coffee spot, and there's some good memories. The sad thing for me is that there's not many people left alive, because there were 7, 8, 9, 10 people coming to those meetings, and as far as I know, Chris and I are the only two people who's still around. We even did some service. I can remember in those days. It's weird. And why are the dealers are always in Hillbrow? Because that time the dealers were also in Hillbrow. And I remember being watched putting up posters at Fontana's. At that time, it was still there was Fontana's in Hillbrow in Pretoria Street, and there was a notice board and putting up the NA posters. And people came and people went, and I was unfortunately one of the people that went. Round about 1980, early mid 1987, I decided that NA wasn't good enough for me. Perhaps I wasn't good enough for NA. I don't know, but I was out of there, and the meetings. I know there were two guys who were running it at the time, and there was a bit of literature. But I then did a geographical and left Johannesburg, and used hard. Somewhere, somehow, whenever things got really, really bad, I kind of turned back to either this fellowship or the AA fellowship. Somewhere that that seed had been planted, that this was the only place that people really understood me. I didn't feel understood in my family. I didn't feel understood in amongst my friends. I definitely know that I was heard, I was listened to and heard, and I could relate to what I heard in the rooms. That's when things become really fuzzy for me. I know I attended AA meetings in Grahamstown where I ended up, and I know when I came back to Joburg in 1990, the fellowship was going. In that period, I also remember attending a meeting in Fordsburg, which I believe was run by Faisal, whose name's come up a few times, once or twice. But I didn't get clean. I didn't stay clean for any period of days even. So yeah, and came back, did another geographical to London, did a couple of meetings in London, came back to Joburg, and then attended that Lifeline meeting in Norwood once or twice. I do remember the Hillbrow meetings vividly. They've spoken about because they were wild. And I did get a couple of months clean there, and but then found reasons why I shouldn't keep coming back. It's always amazing to me that I had to be in pain to come back here, to haul out the Star and find the little ad with a telephone number to phone somebody and say, "Where's a meeting?" I didn't come in here when I was happy. I came in here when I was really, really desperate. And nobody ever judged me. Nobody ever said, "We told you so." Nobody ever said more than, "Grab a cup of coffee, sit down and listen." So yeah, in and out until 1999, when the wheels really, really came off, and I suppose, they say your rock bottom. I perhaps wasn't as physically damaged, or mentally damaged, or financially damaged in 1999, but spiritually damaged completely. And for me, that was my true rock bottom. It wasn't a physical or mental; it was a spiritual rock bottom, and perhaps it was that which I've always been seeking in these rooms is not just the fellowship, but the spiritual awakening which I got. Since 1999, I've shared a few times. I can continue to attend meetings, not as often as I should, perhaps, but as many as I need to. Don't do as much service as I should, perhaps, but as much as I need to. It's the only place. I've tried everything. It's the only place that I've managed to stay clean. Oh, thanks for letting me share.